Can you guys please introduce yourselves?
Jessica Martinez, Community Outreach Coordinator for the City of Westminster.
And I'm the homeless liaison officer for the Westminster Police Department.
How do you, as your position, find housing for the people that are struggling?
There's a whole process of different organizations that would try to get them back to housing, but the first step from being on the street would be going to an emergency shelter. From the emergency shelter, they're going to work with a case manager. That case manager is going to either try to find them a job or get them a job or get them set up somewhere where they can work towards getting a job, and then also work towards getting housed. There's different programs. There's rapid rehousing is one of them.
Permanent
Supportive housing. So it just depends on what they qualify. So there's all these organizations. The biggest issue, which comes down to it from being street level homeless to getting housed, is that there's limited funds for every program. I wear a different uniform than most of our patrol officers, and that reason is so that they know, hey, I'm a little bit more approachable. I'm not gonna, arrest them for every stupid little thing. A lot of them do trust me. They do trust Jessica. They ask for Jessica by name. They ask me for name, and that's because we've helped so many people that the word is got out that we're here to help and not just put them in jail and cause more problems for them. Even though this is a uniform, we really try to push it to set ourselves off just a little bit different so that they know, hey, I'm not there to just do patrol stuff. The way Orange County split up, there's 3 different, they're called spas. Service planning area. City of Westminster is in the central spa. The one shelter that all the cities in central spa, which is Costa Mesa, Tustin, Newport Beach, Westminster, Huntington Beach, Seal Beach, Santa Ana. So of those cities that I named, we can refer into the Yale Navigation Center, which is in Santa Ana. Our cities worked on an agreement with Fountain Valley and Garden Grove to build a shelter. So the three cities will have a shelter hopefully by the end of the year. Everyone has a different story. I've talked to some people, they've lost their house because of, they couldn't afford to pay their mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. I've talked to other person that he got injured when he was young and got addicted to Vicodin, Got another one that went to his best friend's house, and his best friend's dad was a druggie, and so they all started doing it together. You run the gamut, and there's a story out there. They all have their own individual story. The way I look at it is they ended up on the street because they've literally burned every bridge to get to that part. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So typically, you can stay with mom, you can stay with sister, but then after you've disappointed so many people or burned them, maybe say, hey, give me $100, I'll give you money back, and then you don't. Mm-hmm. You burn that bridge, then eventually it ends up where you can't couch surf anymore, and you end up on the street.
Here with PATH.
So my name is Angie. I'm the Community Affairs Associate for PATH.
Hey, my name is Brandon. I'm the Community Affairs Specialist for PATH.
We're in charge of kind of handling community relations, outreach, coordinating volunteers, donations throughout Orange County. Organization PATH is based in Los Angeles, and we're a statewide organization. So while our main headquarters is based in LA, we have sites ranging all the way up north from Bay Area and San Jose all the way down to San Diego. So Orange County is just one of the many regions we have here. A lot of our responses are also going to be kind of based on what we do here in Orange County. So it's similar. It might be similar to other regions, but there might be differences as well. But generally speaking, we all work on the same goal, ending homelessness for individuals and families across the state.
So why do you think finding a home is so difficult in California?
I think one of the major problems, and this is kind of an issue that we also try to address as well, is just the lack of affordable housing. We actually have a branch section of the PATH called PATH Ventures, and that works to build affordable housing for people who kind of need that support. But generally speaking, that is kind of one of the big issues that we see when it comes to people trying to find permanent housing. And that's kind of what our kind of also aligns with what we do here at PAF because we are a housing first approach. So we try to find people with match people with housing first.
So how do you find like permanent housing, especially in like California's housing crisis?
So that is kind of difficult, and obviously it's not going to be like there's not one single solution. We have a lot of guests here who utilize like housing vouchers. They work with case managers to kind of find places that will accept vouchers that will meet their needs. And that is a common way. Some people just kind of do it the normal old-fashioned way. Just trying to look for leases themselves. And I think, and usually the paths that many of our guests use to find permanent housing is very similar to most people in general, just, looking for available spaces, maybe, partnering with other people or utilizing programs such as the housing vouchers.
So I've noticed like even with so much support from like homeless shelters and homeless organizations like you guys, there's still like a lot from like my community, just a lot of like issues revolving like homelessness. And I was just wondering, like how accessible is it to get this support? Like is there like an application process or an interview process, an eligibility thing?
So it depends for like I know different because we're not the only we're not the only organization here in Orange County that provides homeless services. So their needs are different. We are specific a low barrier shelter, so we don't have as many requirements to participate in our programs. So for us, for example, at our interim shelters here in Orange, in Santa Ana and in Placentia, we are referral only. So people can't just walk up to our shelter. They have to be referred to our shelters by either a police officer in any of the neighboring cities, or they can be referred by organizations such as CityNet.
From your experience, how often do people or new people enter your facility, and how long do they stay at your facility?
So because we are a referral only center, we can kind of control how many people come in because obviously we don't want to overwhelm our case managers with too many people coming in at once. So usually we can see anywhere from like 3 to 5 people normally. That being said, though, I believe we just hit capacity at our shelter. So just as a bit of context, here in Santa Ana, our Yale Navigation Center has 425 beds. At our Placentia Navigation Center, we have 100 beds, and I think they're also full as well. So obviously, if we don't have any space available, we can't accept new intakes at the moment. But usually, when there is available space, we try to accept that many people, 3 or 5 or so.
Well, how long does a typical homeless person stay?
At our shelters, we don't have like a set deadline where they have to like leave. I know the other places might have, 30, 60, 90 days where they can only stay for a certain period of time. But for us, as long as they're making progress towards their housing goals, so if they check in with their case managers, if we can see that they're, working towards either getting a job or getting treatment for like their needs, or they're working towards just finding housing, then we work with them to kind of achieve those goals, but we don't have like a set like time where they have to they have to leave our center.
Okay, that makes sense. But in terms of like having enough spots for like new people, is it difficult to find new spots because people aren't leaving?
I say because we do have people who do come and go sometimes. So if we do see notice that person's been AWOL, they haven't been in their bed in months, we might see that as a reason to discharge them from the program, so we can open that space up for people who are actively in need of the program. And we do ask, we're not just gonna just tell people to leave right away. We will try to follow up, make sure, try to reach out to them. Are you guys still here? Do you still need our services? And it's only in the worst case scenario where we don't hear from them for a long period of time where we might open up that space. And there's people who just come and go for various reasons as well. We do have people who fortunately do find permanent housing, and so they, get to leave our program, get to their new homes, and then that space opens up for them. But obviously, there's only so much we can do. I believe, I don't remember the specific number, but I do know that in Orange County, we have about 3,000 people who are experiencing homelessness. I think half of those are not in shelters right now. So obviously there's much more demand than there is actual space.